didn't know that all the biggest Kickstarters are coming out in November this year. Did you?
How should I react to your crying?
Well, I don't know. Tell that we played them and we can tell them about them and then they don't have to cry.
Let's do exactly that. We're gonna tell you about the best and most exciting Kickstarters of the year. 3 games that are or will soon be on crowdfunding platforms that we are really excited for. Because they are from our favorite companies and board game creators, we're super excited to try them, and we did. This is how it's going to work. We each have these 4 magnetics.
It's magic. I don't know how it works. It must be magic.
And we're gonna answer these 2 questions. Is it fun? Is it not fun? What is fun about these games? And we're gonna tell you who these games are for. Are they for you?
All right, I'm excited.
This is Avalon. It's from the authors of Oathsworn, a great story game that is acclaimed with lots of awards and highly rated, super great. We played it, we loved it, and this is
Totally different game, totally different mechanisms. The only thing that connects them is the same office where people work, that they designed this. I think they work in an office.
They could work in a cave, I don't know. Who knows? Each round you will refresh the board, set it up for the next round, and then get to the preparation phase.
I got it. Round, right? Each round.
Yeah, exactly. And in the preparation phase, you will play cards in order to place all these good looking figures on the board. You'll also move them, build some fortresses to set yourself up for the big war.
When the war phase comes around, I was
silence.
Yeah, I was shocked, yeah, for a while. When the war phase comes around, each region that has more than one faction will have war in it.
And you fight by playing blackjack?
Yeah, essentially you play blackjack. Each player can play a battle plan card, which will have a strength number that you will add to your army strength. Unless they go over.
This card shows you the limit, the maximum power you can get, but to get to that number, you will draw random cards and see. All right, I have 4, so it's not over, right?
Yeah, you're still
but
good.
4 strength doesn't sound.
No, I mean you can go up to 9. Come on, man.
9! Great, I got the maximum power. But if I would draw a 6, I would burn down and get half.
And don't get to resolve the ability on the card.
And when the war is over, you remove all the figures and do it again. Let's go to the board and see what's fun about it, what's not so fun, and is it for you.
Not only you don't want to miss out on these games, but you also
don't want to mess on Vessi's because they have a special deal in November.
My mornings usually start with a walk with my dog. And luckily, just like my doggo, Vessi's are always there for me, whatever the weather. Then I start editing some videos. And no, I'm not wearing shoes while working, but the socks that I am wearing are dry because I was wearing Vessi's during my morning walk. Yes, Vessi's are waterproof. Whenever I feel like I'm getting tired or stuck, I go out and shoot some hoops. Almost. And these shoes are a perfect fit for my outdoor activities. When the evening comes, my little kiddo is back from kindergarten and I have my puddle jumping duties. And I can easily fulfill them with my cool looking Vessi's. Shh. Now finally, when the little one is asleep, it's time for some board games. And on my way to game nights, Vessi's keep me comfy with their Cloud Comfort design. So step into waterproof comfort with Vessi's early Black Friday sale. Stay dry in style with select waterproof Vessi's. Now just $99 at vessi.com. Don't wait, grab yours before they're gone.
So the first thing why this game is really fun, because I lose a lot of the games, most of the games, all the time, I lose, is ketchup.
Ketchup?
Ketchup.
Do you have some fries with that ketchup?
Some fries, mother. There are many ways to play this game, and one of the ways is play the hardcore version where there is no catching up, and then there's the catching up version. Sometimes you will score points, and the amount of those points is equal to how much of a loser you are, and in my case, score a lot of points. So the farther you are away from the leader, the more points you will get. And it feels good. It just does. It just feels good. It feels fun. And throughout the game, I was like, oh no, I'm not that far away. Obviously, there was final scoring, and all my dreams were crushed, and and if you don't need all of that hand-holding, you can play without it.
For me, it's factions. The factions are super fun. Yep, exactly. Unique and different from one another. For example, you play the faction that controls waves. You can control the timing of the waves and wash away opponents' figures, and that's completely different than I had. The bad thing, of course, at the beginning of the game, you have no clue who has what powers and what's gonna happen, but it's super fun.
Card system cards. A lot of these cards are their unique own ability.
Because they do multiple things, and that's always lovely. You can pay with the cards, you can play the cards, and they have these superpowers that each will do different things. It's really exciting, really thrilling. Why it's not fun? It's busy. You can see the board here, and during the game it gets even busier. So just calculating what points goes there, what battles will most likely go which direction. It's not impossible, but it's really tough. And that's another thing is these boards are super busy, so especially with the asymmetric powers. There's a lot of things going on, tons of icons.
It's a little bit daunting the first time you play. I have itsy bitsy rules.
Yeah.
Itsy bitsy rules. This is a prototype. It's not final. Things are going to change, but I felt that some of the icons and some of the things are not super clear.
For me, the last thing just looks, but in general, it just looks really, really nice, and it's eye pleaser for sure. Here's the question, Janis. Who is this game for?
I think this game is for people who love, and I'm just gonna name games, Wonderland's War and Root. I think if you like those games, or those type of games, like asymmetric area control, tons of things happening, yet simple to kind of follow along, you're gonna like this a lot.
If you would like to fight it out with your friends, a bit random, but you can impact almost everything, want to battle it out, wanted to feel great and epic, I think this game's for you. So, here's Lands of Evershade. How I would define this game, if you really want that D&D kind of ish experience, but you are too lazy to be a DM, it's all set up here. Lands of Evershade is the story about the world where it's all dark and the sunlight is deadly.
Sunlight's deadly here as well.
Yeah. Wherever there's sunlight, it's like a laser from the skies that destroys everything.
It gives you a character, or you can build your own, and just throws you in the story. Just start playing with this book.
So you have some small text and then some choices there. And then a small description. If you don't know the rules, then it will help you out with all the little details about it. So you will go through this book, which will take you on a journey through different places in this world. Things will happen, you will make choices, you will roll some dice to see how good you are at these choices, and then it might throw you in a combat.
Yeah, essentially you zoom in, and that's the one fight you have to deal with.
These are handy dandy sheets. You have tons of them that you can exchange each time when you go to a different spot. Whenever you make a choice, the game will remember that. You will take a cube and set it here at a U, for example, which will mean that, hey, you just killed somebody, and his wife will remember that.
And it will come up in the story later on.
Is this simplified D&D game any good?
Let's go to the board. No, we have to go. Whew, we're here. Just some awkward jokes in between the, serious stuff. We gotta keep it light. Yeah.
For the kids.
For the for the kids.
Doing it for the kids out there. The fun part is the story. I feel like it's a really, really well written story, as well as the perfect amount of story. You have these small paragraphs and then a choice, or then a test, and it just flows really well. It keeps on going for sure.
And that's great, because you'll be using that book or an app
and a
voiceover as much as you'll be using everything else, if not more. And you know how else you can tell that the writing is great?
Yeah.
Because I was doing all the reading when we played, and you were fine with it. Writing must be through the roof!
And thanks to that good writing, it's great choices. It's really, really great choices that matter. We've seen just a glimpse of the game.
Us doing that really bad thing was a really great choice.
It was fun, that's for sure, and that's what we're talking about. They feel like tough choices, they feel like crucial choices, and you still want to do that silly thing.
It wasn't silly, it was horrible, the things we did.
Potatoes.
But it lets you do these bad things. It's fun, but not fun. It is a campaign game. It's another campaign game that's gonna take you a while to play. Just segueing into, let's go. You had played a little bit before. How you introduced to me and Rainis was just open that book, said, read this, here are your characters, let's just start. And we're like, okay. And we just did. And we just went and it just kept rolling like a snowball. It got bigger, faster, cooler. I think, I don't say this lightly, this has the makings of becoming the best story board game I've ever played. No,
it's like both of these.
Oh, it's like on the edge.
Because the sheets are brilliant. It saves a lot of space on the table. It's great. Yeah, there are these secret sheets that we won't show you and spoil anything, but there's tons of them and gonna be even more. They're great, they're brilliant, they look good, they are practical, they work perfectly. I really like them. So it's fun. What's not fun is some scenarios are just better than others, and it's a normal thing. For example, the first one you play, it's an introduction. It's very linear, and you kind of get the glimpse of it really quickly, how it works, and just like, it's okay. The next one is a much more about exploring, so it's more fun. So it will depend, as always, from scenario to scenario.
You are right, we didn't mention combat. Combat is usually limited to one small board. Then we'll just draw a card for the bad guys, see what happens, and we'll just do some of our actions. And there's a lot of synergy between us, like, can you do that to help me that?
Last thing for me, the fun thing, is the builds. You can use a pre-created character from this player's handbook, which is basically the player's handbook from D&D, only set in this world with all the flavors. And you can create your own, building everything. Their class, their powers, their past, their backstories. Why I mention it now is because of these cards, right? These cards are the combat.
On your turn, you will use one of these cards to either attack or do some other action. When you're attacked, you will use these cards to defend. Or when you're acting, I can use these cards to help you in one way or another.
Yeah. You will get some basic cards based on your character, what choices you made while creating that character, as well as you will get them from the game from time to time. We can exchange them, we can train new skills, they all work differently. You create your own character. That's your build, nobody else will have the same build as you do. Build that you create will impact the game, will impact the combat, will impact the story phase. It's just very unique.
If you like story games, then you can enjoy this, hands down, no problem.
The next release is World Order.
The last big release of November.
Yeah. And it's from this hegemonic company, which created my favorite board game of all time, Hegemony. Then they announced another game that takes the whole game in a grander scale to the World Order, which is actually a simpler game.
In this game, each player takes the role of one of the 4 superpowers and tries to push their agenda to, like everything in life, get more victory points.
Yes, you try to build tanks, get more influence into different regions, and in that way score more victory points.
In this game, each player gets a deck of cards that they will draw from and play cards to do different actions.
For example, trade card where you can pay some resources to get money, or spend some money, here you go,
Thanks.
to get some more resources.
That's like almost 2 tanks for you here.
Also engage and improve some relations with different other countries and other things that these huge superpowers of the world would like to do. You will score points based on the influence you have in different regions of the world.
There are these areas, and you'll try to control them by having the most cubes in them. Sounds like a Euro game?
It's pretty much a Euro game. What's fun about it and what's not so fun about it? Let's go to the whiteboard. Again with this. For the kids! My fun thing is focus. At the beginning of each round, you can choose what kind of focus your country will take. And these could be domestic focuses, which means you will produce some good stuff, some phones. Could go the diplomatic route, which means you will get more of the diplomatic resources that you can use to, talk with other countries. Or the last thing, military focus, which means your tanks are stronger, it's easier to produce tanks. And this choice always was really thrilling. If I'm the last one choosing, I was always watching, so who's gonna go and pick the military action? Because if you will do it, I have to as well.
Yeah, personal boards is also the most fun thing for me. The focus you mentioned, also the resource management is a little bit interesting. Managing them, there are different ways you can do those things, improve production.
A thing that wasn't too fun for me were the cards. So the cards are...
Wait. No, it's just slightly above as well.
You will have these cards that you will use as actions. You will have few in them in hand, and whenever it's your turn, you can play one to do a simple, basic action usually.
Pretty much so anything you can do in this game is through cards.
These cards are not too thrilling. And then there's deck building. Each round you will use your cards to buy new ones and add to your deck, which gives you some extra bonuses. But those are also very basic bonuses.
Anything you can do is just on the cards, and if you don't get the card, you don't get to use it. And it felt, not even the random is the killer, but just like limiting. Felt inconsistent with the scope and like you being a superpower. If I want to attack you, I should be able to attack you. I'm sorry, our attacking minister didn't come in and we can't attack today. But it still is, for me, a fun part because there is excitement in getting those new cards and drawing them and like getting a really good hand and like, woo! There's definitely room to grow there. Yeah, and again, mentioning none of these games that we talked about are final and they're going to change and most likely improve and get better, so take it with a grain of salt. Thing that was not fun and was a little bit fun at the end when we realized we could have a little bit, it was politics. When I heard the premise for this game, I thought, let's go. We'll decide the fate of the world by having like political agreements, making alliances, trading stuff, selling stuff. There are almost no politics in this game. Coming from hegemony, I think, is the worst thing that could have happened for us for this game, is because we had high expectations. But most of the time, I didn't even care what the China was doing all the way there.
I didn't feel like I'm a world leader sitting at a table and trying to discuss how we're gonna do things. By far, the one thing I wish they would add is some way that we need to discuss things to be good at this. Like China is going to Africa and doing those things. Okay, we need to stop him. I give you this tank so you can go in there and do things. Somehow that we all together are in this mess, right? Not just me with my cards. So one thing that helped with this a little bit, where are the tanks? The more tanks you have there, the more power you have, which helps you build the influence, but the biggest thing that they do is give minus points to the opponents if they don't have enough strength there. We all would be winners if we wouldn't really place tanks. You don't waste resources to place tanks there, which is a good life lesson.
Yeah, it's a great lesson. Nobody gains from like building up military. You're just kind of stalling the others.
So then there's some diplomacy. Both of us, let's stop, not place tanks there. We could use these resources elsewhere.
Last fun thing for me, you can play differently. You can play different. For example, China played totally different. It was all business, all investing, all making tons of friends. I was all about losing tons of friends and building a lot of tanks. Well, I didn't win, so lesson learned. But you can go in a different direction, and the game does give you freedom, even if it's not as asymmetrical as I wish it was. It does give you freedom, like focusing on totally different things.
Yeah. Cards that I really enjoyed were these special events. Each player will get 2 of these special events that will trigger only 2 times in the game, and these feel super cool. USA moving their navy somewhere to get more influence, it feels super strong. This is how I felt American for the game.
This was the asymmetry that was, and then it suddenly wasn't anymore because you used up both of your cards.
Other than that, it's still good game. Who is this game for?
Eurogamers. Absolutely, through and through, Eurogames. If you thought hegemony is too much talking and too wild, then this is not. This is like cube pushing as its best, and I mean it in a good way.
Yeah, don't want random events really. This works.
I'm excited to play the final version of this.
If we would give out badges, then I would give this game the badge of the most potential, because I feel like it's great base, but I'm missing that uniqueness that could be here, but I can't promise you anything. November is the month of crowdfunding, and these 3 were the most exciting, thrilling, and best. What was the last game you crowdfunded? Was it worth it? Let us know in the comment below.